Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is.
A security camera once captured a guard, calmly holding a conversation with someone no one else could see. He gave her a name, Miss Abigail. Then his coworker froze and said the words that turned the footage into a viral nightmare. That woman he was speaking to had reportedly died 2 years earlier, and the corridor in front of him was completely empty. Security cameras were meant to protect us, but these 10 terrifying recordings captured moments no one has ever fully explained. It started with an office building that should have been the safest kind of place. Bright rooms, desks lined up, chairs pushed in, a space built for routine. The footage came from an office block in Manchester, Castlefield House on Liverpool Road, and what made it unsettling right away was the emptiness. No workers, no cleaners, no footsteps, just quiet rooms under fluorescent light, the kind of calm that usually meant nothing happened. Then the building started acting like it was not empty at all. CCTV footage showed chairs moving across rooms as if someone shoved them with force, computer screens flickering to life as though unseen hands tapped keys, and shadows sliding across walls where there should have been nothing but still air. Papers appeared to lift and scatter, stacks broke apart, and the rooms looked like they were turning into a hive of activity without a single person on camera. It was the kind of video people described as paranormal activity, because the movements did not look like a minor draft or a casual bump. They looked deliberate, almost angry. The clip first appeared online in 2012, and even years later, it kept returning, circulating on social media and popping up again through outlets that wanted answers. Because the footage felt like proof, viewers trusted CCTV. People might doubt a storyteller, but they trusted a timestamp, a fixed camera, a building that looked locked down. But here was where it got even more shocking. A Manchester ghost hunter stepped in and said the footage was not proof of anything supernatural. It was proof of how convincing a fake could be. Scott McKinnon, who ran Phoenix Paranormal Investigation from his home in Denton, and said he had investigated paranormal reports for more than 20 years, described the video as extremely well put together, then said it was fake. He explained that there were signifiers that did not stand out to an untrained eye, scenes that appeared edited, dodgy time codes, tape that could be seen on the ceiling, and sounds that seemed dubbed in afterwards. He did not call it sloppy. He called it convincing, which was almost worse, because it implied the hoax was made with skill. Then he added another detail that changed how people viewed the entire clip. He said he discovered the footage was produced by a Manchester PPI claim company, Joshua Brooks Limited. The haunting was not something that happened to the building, it was something created to look like it happened in the building. That twist did not just debunk one scary security camera video. It set a tone for the entire countdown. It told you to watch closely. It told you that fear could be manufactured. And the better the manufacturing, the longer the clip stayed alive online. And just when you thought that was the worst kind of reveal, the next case took the same idea and raised the stakes, because it involved screaming. A hotel hallway, a guard walking into a room that was supposed to be empty, and a ghost-like figure that floated out as if it had been waiting for the camera to look away. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you. Nightmare Feelings crossed over 187,000 subscribers in 2025, and that's all because of you. Every single view, like, and share means the world to me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. This year, we're setting our sights on 250,000 before April 2026. So if you enjoy these videos and haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that button, join the community. Let's grow this together. Now back to the video. If you ever watched a scary security camera video and felt your stomach tighten, it was probably because of a hallway shot. Long corridor, flat lighting, no warning, just a door at the end of the frame that suddenly mattered. That was exactly what this viral hotel clip leaned on. It was presented as footage from a Wingate hotel somewhere in Illinois. The story claimed guests called the front desk with noise complaints, saying there were blood-curdling screams coming from the second floor. A plainclothes security guard named John was sent to check it out, and as he walked down the hallway, the screaming started, loud enough to make it feel like something was waiting behind that door. The version that spread most often ran just over 3 minutes, and it opened with a bold claim that it had not been edited. That line made people drop their guard, especially anyone who wanted proof of something paranormal. John approached the door, entered, and while he was out of sight, something faint and transparent appeared to float out of the room and drift down the hallway. Moments later, another voice, allegedly from the security office, described the room as chaotic, furniture upside down, carpet ripped up, and the shower running in a room that was supposedly unoccupied. For many viewers, that was enough. Screams, an empty room, a ghost-like figure in the corridor, and a security camera angle that looked official. Then the clip ran into a detailed breakdown that argued it did not hold up. The first issue was simple. The not edited claim did not match what the video showed, because the ominous soundtrack already suggested the footage had been worked on. A technical point followed. The breakdown said an employee at a manufacturer of these systems suggested the video was edited at least to insert quad views, mixed with single views, because recorders did not normally output footage that way by themselves. They recorded individual streams, while multi-view layouts were usually for monitor display. The audio raised even more questions. The YouTube description reportedly stated the audio was a mixdown between security camera audio and a separate recording from inside the office, which meant 2 tracks were edited together, again contradicting the not edited claim. The breakdown also pointed out that John's voice was oddly hard to hear and often unclear, even though screams behind a closed door came through sharply, which did not make sense if everything was captured naturally. Another claim in the analysis went further, that hotel hallway security cameras did not record audio, and that recording audio in that setting was illegal. If that point was true, then the screaming could not have been coming from the hallway camera in the first place, which meant the video depended on added sound. Other details added to suspicion. The hallway stayed empty. If guests were calling the front desk about intense screaming, you would expect at least one person to step out, look, or knock. Yet nobody appeared except John. The radio conversation also felt inconsistent. The main voice in the office spoke with a woman identified as Amy early on, yet soon after, when he asked if Amy was there, her voice never returned, even when it sounded like she should have answered. That gap made it feel like the audio had missing parts. There was also a moment around 1 minute 16 seconds where John's movement appeared to skip position, especially his left foot. It could have been a glitch, but the breakdown treated it as another possible edit point. Then came the question that many viewers could not ignore. Why did John never turn on the room light? He stayed with a flashlight, which looked dramatic, not practical. Finally, the breakdown pointed to missing angles. The video showed other cameras that existed in that hallway, including camera 7 and camera 22, positioned to capture the same area, especially the direction the ghost-like figure moved. Yet those feeds never appeared. The analysis argued those extra angles would have made the effect harder to sell. The ghost itself was also questioned. The breakdown suggested it could have been created by overlaying two clips from the same stationary camera, creating a transparent figure, because only some elements existed in one clip. It even pointed out an odd detail. The figure moved down the hall to the right, but a lamp to the left flickered, which felt more like a staged atmosphere than a natural sequence. By the end, the biggest issue remained. The video never showed the alleged chaos inside room 209. There were no photos, no police arrival footage, and no clear verification of the hotel or location. So, it left viewers with two competing narratives: a scary security camera moment that convinced many people, and a detailed argument that it was staged. This case did not unfold like a single haunting. It unfolded like a chain of small mysteries that looked harmless at first, then slowly became unsettling. Because the more you looked, the more you realized how many unanswered questions could exist in everyday life, even with cameras everywhere. It began with an odd moment from 2019 that left people scratching their heads. A perfectly good, untouched In-N-Out burger was found on the street in New York City, and the reason it became a mystery was simple. In-N-Out did not have locations on the East Coast. So, how did a fresh-looking burger end up in Queens? A couple spotted the abandoned burger and posted a photo hoping someone could explain it, because it looked too perfect to be random trash. Then a 16-year-old named Helen Vevaz wrote to them claiming she was the person who brought it all the way from San Diego. She said she planned to enjoy it with her family, but dropped it after landing in New York while running to catch a bus. The burger did not make it home, but the mystery did get an explanation, which was almost comforting, because it proved that sometimes a weird sight had a simple story behind it. But the clip did not stay comforting. Another mystery appeared when a man named Michael Trollman was combing a California beach with a metal detector and found an SD card. When he checked it, he found wedding photos, a ceremony on a boat surrounded by loved ones, including a shot of the couple holding up a marriage certificate with names on it: Alex Ilmaine and Shan Liu. The clip mentioned there was no word on whether Trollman reunited the couple with their precious memories, which meant the story ended with a question hanging in the air. Somewhere out there, someone lost a piece of their life, and a stranger found it. Then there was a proposal mystery. A couple wanted to track down the woman who filmed their proposal. After a long hike, a man named Rainer proposed to his girlfriend Gina at the top of a cliff in Hawaii. A fellow hiker happened to capture a video of the moment. Afterward, the mystery woman airdropped the video to the couple and disappeared. Rainer and Gina wanted to thank her and even invite her to their wedding, but they could not find her. The clip framed it as a bizarre mystery, because the stranger showed up at the exact, perfect moment, then vanished. Those were mysteries that felt almost sweet, until the tone shifted into something that felt creepy. In a Virginia neighborhood, dozens of people woke up one morning to find old television sets on their doorsteps. That was strange enough, but when residents checked their doorbell cameras, they saw something that made it feel worse. The delivery person wore a TV on his head, an effort to remain anonymous. He seemed to know he was being watched. The neighbors described it as funny, but also creepy, because it looked like someone intentionally created a character to avoid being identified. Police were called to investigate, but the TV man remained at large and unidentified. That was what made it scary, not because it was paranormal, but because it showed a person could walk through a neighborhood, perform something unsettling on camera, and vanish. Then, as if the story wanted to blur the line between prank and something stranger, the clip brought up what it called a bigger mystery: what a family caught on home surveillance video, and whether it was a beloved Harry Potter character come to life. The footage was viewed millions of times. Experts said the creature was likely a child, but the identity remained unclear. The 9-year-old named Bobby, who lived at the house, denied it was him, even when questioned directly. This case mattered because it showed a pattern. A security camera could capture something odd, and the internet would build a story around it: prankster, lost memory, mystery Good Samaritan, or a strange figure outside at night. Each time, the camera offered evidence, but not closure. And just when you thought these were simple mysteries, the next case escalated into something bigger than a neighborhood story or a weird silhouette, because it involved a fireball across the sky, a 911 call, police body cameras, and a worldwide debate over what might have landed in a Las Vegas backyard. This case did not begin with a shadow on the wall. It began with something streaking across the sky. On April 30, at around 11:50 p.m., a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body camera recorded an object streaking low across the night. Several people across eastern California, Nevada, and Utah reported seeing the flash. According to the American Meteor Society, investigators obtained another video of the meteor streaking through the sky. In other words, the fireball itself was treated as real. Something happened above the city, and people noticed. Then, about 40 minutes later, the story shifted from the sky to a backyard. A young man called 911 saying he and his family saw something fall from the sky, and they saw two moving things in their Northwest Valley backyard. Dispatch sent officers to investigate. Body camera video from both officers was obtained. One officer admitted he felt nervous as he prepared to drive there. He said he had butterflies, he had seen a shooting star, and now these people were saying there were aliens in their backyard. That line alone became part of why people remembered the clip, because it sounded like a real human reaction, half disbelief, half curiosity, and a little fear. The family reportedly told police they had seen 10-foot-tall alien beings in their yard. Officers responded minutes later, interviewed witnesses, canvassed the area, and cautiously inspected the backyard, looking for intruders. One officer told the family he was not going to lie. One of his partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, which was why he was curious. He asked if they saw anything land in their backyard. Then, a physical detail became central. Officers noticed a circle in the soil. In conversations with investigators and in a podcast interview, Angel, described as the main witness, suggested the circle might have been created when an unknown object landed in the yard. But social media sleuths later pointed out that the circular image had been viewable via Google Earth for more than a year. That did not automatically disprove the family's experience, but it undermined the idea that the circle was fresh impact evidence from that night. It added ambiguity, and ambiguity was gasoline in cases like this. The family told investigators they saw suspicious vehicles with men in black types checking out their home. In the world of UFO stories, men in black claims were almost guaranteed to appear, and many people dismissed them instantly. Yet the story included a detail that gave it a strange edge. A retired police officer told News Nation that he spent days staking out the house to see if anything unfolded. That meant at least one person took the situation seriously enough to monitor it, even if it was unofficial. Then the surveillance element went further. A podcaster named Doug Papa quoted family members saying police installed a surveillance device on their home. Metro Police confirmed they installed temporary cameras for the family's benefit, and in one transcript it was explained the system stayed on the roof for days. Another correction hit the viral narrative. A Ring camera video with a crashing sound was initially believed to be connected to Angel's claim, but the man who first posted the clip said the recording was from mid-April, and it captured a fireball that passed over his home 2 weeks prior to the alleged encounter. That meant the sound was not directly tied to the April 30th. It was a reminder of how quickly unrelated clips could be pulled into the same story once the internet decided everything was connected. The family declined to be interviewed by investigators in one report, but members spoke elsewhere and stuck to their claims. Dozens of people on social media analyzed and dissected images and videos reportedly from the backyard, making various claims about aliens spotted in shadows, pointing at dark corners, circling pixels, arguing over what looked like movement. Police reportedly did not believe the call was a hoax. The coverage even noted that calling in a hoax 911 call was a Category E felony in Nevada and could carry prison time if convicted, which was used to frame the situation as serious. Then the story collided with a larger controversy in UFO culture. In a broadcast transcript, it was said that one of NASA's planetary defense officers weighed in and suggested the object seen in the sky was likely a small meteor that fell to Earth, hundreds of miles away from Las Vegas. At the same time, the broadcast described how ferocious the public debate was, with people arguing hoax, cover-up, or distraction, and it mentioned that some in UFO world saw the coverage as a plot to distract attention from a whistleblower named Dave Grish, who stepped forward around the same time with explosive claims. Whether that connection made sense or not, it showed the scale of the debate. The Las Vegas backyard incident became more than a scary video. It became a battle over narratives, evidence, and trust. And just when you thought nothing could top an incident that brought police to a backyard after a meteor streaked overhead, The next case shrank the fear back down to a quiet hallway and a single conversation, because a security guard appeared to speak to someone who was not there, and the name he said out loud made the person listening freeze. Some disturbing videos were terrifying because they showed movement. This one was terrifying because it showed behavior. Because when an object slid across the floor, you could blame wind, wheels, or a glitch. But when a person acted like someone stood right in front of them, your brain ran out of easy answers. The clip was recorded by a coworker watching a CCTV feed, and it was said to have happened in a building in Houston, Texas, although the exact location was never confirmed. On the monitor, the security guard stood in the lobby area and did not look confused or scared. He looked normal, like he was doing his job. He faced an empty corridor and started speaking, gesturing with his hands, pausing like he was listening, then responding like the other person had just asked him something. It was the calmness that unsettled people, because panic could look like acting, but routine behavior felt harder to fake. It looked like a conversation that belonged there. The coworker noticed it and keyed the radio, asking a simple question that instantly raised the tension. "Who are you talking to?" The guard answered without hesitation. He said he was talking to an elderly lady. Then, he gave her a name, Miss Abigail, and he added another detail that made the story feel even more grounded. He said Miss Abigail asked him about a man named Mr. Griffin. That was the moment the clip stopped being just strange and became personal. Names did that. A shadow could be anything, but a name suggested history. It suggested the building had a past, that it was not just a ghost. It was someone with an identity, someone who supposedly knew who belonged there and who did not. It also echoed a pattern that showed up in a lot of viral security camera hauntings. The most convincing claims were rarely the dramatic ones. They were the ordinary ones. A polite greeting, a small request, the kind of exchange you could imagine happening 100 times on a normal shift. Then the coworker dropped a line that turned the clip into a viral ghost story. She repeated the name back as if she needed to confirm she heard it right. Then she said, Miss Abigail had died 2 years earlier. In the transcript, the exchange sounded like disbelief turning into alarm. The coworker stressed that there was nobody in front of him at all, while the guard kept speaking as if the corridor was occupied. It created a disturbing split screen in the viewer's mind. The camera showed empty space, but the guard behaved like the space was not empty. That contradiction was why the clip worked so well on people. Security footage usually felt objective, but this clip forced you to choose which evidence mattered more: the pixels on the screen or the human reaction happening inside the frame. And the guard's reaction mattered because he did not perform fear. He did not jump back or wave his arms wildly. He acted like he was helping someone who needed directions, which made the moment feel closer to a real workplace encounter than a horror scene. At the same time, the narrator covering the clip admitted what responsible viewers had to admit too. Footage like this could be faked. It could be scripted, and it was posted on TikTok, a platform many people associated with staged content. The narrator also said the guard's reactions seemed genuine, while reminding viewers that genuine-looking behavior did not automatically mean something paranormal happened. People could be tired on night shifts. People could mishear a radio call. People could joke with coworkers. People could also get drawn into a moment they interpreted as real. So, the case stayed in the worst possible place, the place where it could not be fully proven either way from the clip alone. It was not a flying chair or a flickering light. It was a human being interacting with absence. And that was always scarier, because if he was mistaken, it showed how easily the mind filled gaps in quiet spaces. And if he was not mistaken, then the most unsettling idea was not that something moved in the building. It was that something had a name, a purpose, and a reason to ask for someone else. And just when that quiet workplace fear settled in, the next case shifted to a location built for echoes and long corridors. A school at night, where the camera caught activity right around the hour people love to whisper about. Halloween season always brought out ghost stories, but this case did not begin with a whispered tale or a blurry photo. It came with CCTV footage, and that single detail changed how people reacted, because when something unsettling appeared on a security camera, it felt less like folklore and more like documented evidence, something captured by a machine that had no reason to imagine things. In Cork, Ireland, a security camera inside Deer Park CBS a long-established secondary school on the south side of the city, recorded a series of strange events. Just after 3 a.m., the footage showed a quiet corridor suddenly coming alive in a way no one expected. Lockers slammed open and shut with no visible person nearby. Lights flickered in bursts rather than simple electrical dimming. A bright yellow wet floor sign shifted across the hallway and appeared to lift or slide with force, as though something unseen pushed it. The timing, just after 3 a.m., immediately fed into the atmosphere, because that hour already carried a reputation in popular culture as a moment associated with unexplained activity and heightened fear. What made the clip resonate even more was the setting. Schools at night carried a unique emotional weight. During the day they were loud, structured, and full of life. After dark, they became echoing, empty spaces filled with long corridors and locked classrooms. Security footage from a school did not just capture motion, it captured absence. And when something disturbed that absence, the result felt more dramatic than it would in a busy environment. Deer Park's head teacher, Aaron Wolf, addressed the incident publicly and said he was puzzled by what the cameras recorded. That choice of language mattered. He did not claim it was paranormal, and he did not dismiss it outright. He described confusion, which placed the event in that uncomfortable middle ground, where it was not clearly explained, but also not officially declared supernatural. Staff members reportedly complained that the particular area seen in the footage always felt unusually cold, and Wolf noted it was located outside the religion room. That detail quickly became a focal point online, not because it proved anything, but because it added symbolism that audiences found difficult to ignore. Then the school's longtime caretaker added historical context that deepened the mystery. Having worked at Deer Park for more than 3 decades, he recalled multiple incidents people described as paranormal. One story stood out. During a past event, the school hosted an exotic bird show, and the birds arrived a day early. Concerned about theft, organizers arranged for someone to stay overnight in the building. According to the caretaker, that individual left in the middle of the night and refused to remain, claiming they heard what sounded like a trumpet playing a last call echo through the building. The account even acknowledged a practical explanation. It could have been wind moving through the structure, yet the experience still left enough of an impression to be remembered years later. This case gained traction because it layered specific details that viewers could not easily dismiss. A clear timestamp just after 3 a.m., a fixed camera angle showing an empty school corridor, physical objects moving in ways that appeared deliberate, and a building with a long memory of strange overnight experiences. Together, those elements created a narrative that felt less like a single unexplained moment and more like part of an ongoing pattern. And just when the idea of an empty school corridor felt unsettling enough, the next case carried that same cold nighttime energy into a different environment entirely, a hospital setting where silence was heavier and where even the smallest unexplained movement could feel like something trying to be noticed. Hospitals were unsettling at night for reasons that had nothing to do with ghosts. The lighting was harsh, the halls were long, and the silence felt heavier because you knew what kind of emergencies happened there. That was why this security camera clip hit people so hard. At a hospital in Chandigarh, India, a security guard named Manoj Kumar said he stepped out to drink water and saw something that surprised him. A wheelchair outside was moving on its own, with nobody in it. CCTV cameras positioned outside the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research captured the moment. The footage showed the wheelchair moving suddenly away from a cluster of stationary chairs, then rolling down one of the hospital's ramps. It kept moving as Kumar stepped through the hospital's automatic doors and onto the ramp. At first glance, you could tell yourself it was normal. It had wheels, the ramp sloped, movement could happen. But the reason people kept replaying it was that the wheelchair did not look like it was simply sliding straight down. The clip suggested it moved like it had a mind of its own, and even made a few turns. Those turns were the detail that made viewers say wind was not enough. Kumar did mention wind. He said he could feel wind outside, and the footage supported that possibility, because the shrub's leaves appeared to rustle. He even said it was just wind and nothing else. That sounded like closure, until he added one more comment that reopened the entire debate. He said he was also feeling very cold. Ghost hunters often believed cold spots signaled the nearness of spirits. Whether you believed that or not, the statement fit the paranormal pattern perfectly, and it made viewers interpret the footage differently. A wheelchair rolling could be physics. A wheelchair rolling and turning while a witness said the air felt cold could become a ghost story overnight. This case did not give a neat answer. It gave a camera angle that showed movement and a witness statement that tried to explain it, while leaving just enough weirdness for the internet to argue. And just when you thought the most disturbing thing was an object moving on its own in a hospital setting, the next case raised the emotional stakes, because it involved a family, very young children, and a grandmother who believed a camera captured a figure standing close enough to a bed to make her fear what might happen next. This story carried fear in a different way, because it was not about a corridor or ramp. It was about a child's room, which made people react with instant protectiveness. A grandmother named Tori Mackenzie said she became terrified after capturing what she described as a demon standing over her grandchild's bed. She set up a motion-activated camera at her son's house after complaints that his 2-year-old daughter, Amber Mackenzie, was talking to something unseen in the middle of the night. 4 days later, she checked the camera app and found an image that she described as bone-chilling, a figure standing very close to the sleeping children, near Amber and her 7-month-old brother, Michael Mackenzie. Tori described the figure as having a horn on its head and long claws. The creature was captured standing awkwardly, looking upwards, just seconds before 3 a.m. That timing, just before 3 a.m., was the kind of detail that made people's imaginations run wild, because it was already loaded with folklore. Tori insisted the discovery left her fearing for her grandchildren's lives, and she framed herself not as someone chasing attention, but as someone desperate for help. She said she tried to rid the house of what she called an evil presence by burning oils, and she claimed cabinets and curtains opened and closed, and music began to play by itself. In her account, she said certain things people told her to burn kept going out and would not stay lit, and that every time they tried to light it, a song would come on by itself, play for 5 seconds, then turn off, and it repeated until they stopped trying. She even named the songs she said played, and she described how strange it felt because they were not even on the playlist. She also said after attempts to burn those items, the camera captured many orbs, more than she had ever seen, and she counted over 25 in a 6-minute time frame. She said the 2-year-old seemed to watch the orbs fly around the room. Then, she described a moment that made the story feel even more unsettling. She said the 2-year-old was not scared of the figure and thought it was her friend, but one night the child told it to go away. Her son, Ryan, moved the children out of their room and into his. Tori emphasized that nothing bad had happened to the children, but the fear was in what could happen. And then, the public reaction became its own storm. Tori shared her story via a paranormal Facebook page asking for advice. Users reacted strongly. Some told her to sell the house. Others accused her of faking it. Tori responded by insisting she did not have the technical ability to alter the image, and said she was simply trying to protect her family. The comments showed how divided people became when a scary security camera claim involved kids. One user named John Paul Furlong wrote, "Very easy solution here. Tank of gasoline and a lighter and burn the house down, and just move on." Another user, Holly Nunnally, suggested, "Ask what it wants. It could just be a lost soul." Kim Borton said, "My first thought was a grandmotherly type, but zooming in it looks like it has horns. Creepy." Jennifer Max wrote that it appeared to have horns and long knife-like fingers. And Samantha DeLong Scott claimed, "Whenever there's a new baby in the house, the deceased family members pop in to see the new baby." That range of reactions mattered. Some people jumped to extreme solutions. Some tried to reframe it as something gentle. Some leaned into demonic interpretation. All of them responded to one thing: the image and the story behind it. There were also details about Tori's family, where she lived, and her life. And those details made it feel more grounded to readers, because it was not a nameless storyteller. It was a person in Las Vegas, Nevada, describing something that terrified her. But even within the story, there were gaps, because the case rested on testimony, on interpretation of an image, and on reported activity that could not be independently verified within the text itself. That did not stop people from believing. In fact, sometimes uncertainty made belief stronger, because it allowed the imagination to fill in the missing parts. And just when you thought nothing could top a figure standing near a child's bed, the final entry pulled fear from a different place. It was not a demon story. It was a bedroom camera moment that felt real in a quiet way. And then a second clip showed why people said they trusted animals more than humans, because pets reacted before anyone understood what happened. Bedroom CCTV, the door that opened, the lights that flickered. This was one of those security camera videos that felt scary, because it was ordinary. There was nothing cinematic about it. A young woman slept in her bedroom. The camera watched from its corner, and the room looked normal, quiet, and safe. Then the bedroom door appeared to open all by itself. The moment the door moved, the atmosphere changed. The woman woke with a start, as crashing and banging began. And the video included a spooky squeaking soundtrack, which made some viewers skeptical, because added sound could shape perception. The story itself even noted that alleged ghost clips stayed popular online, but this one was greeted with skepticism, including from a viewer using the screen name, "Question Everything." That was the tension of this case. The footage showed a door moving, a person waking, lights flickering, and a quiet panic, but without context, without verification, and with added audio. People argued over whether it was a ghost, a setup, or something normal that simply looked terrifying on camera. And just when you thought a bedroom door opening was the most personal kind of fear, the final case hit a different nerve, because it involved pets reacting, a cat jolting as if something touched it, and a chair sliding in the kitchen far enough to make viewers replay the footage again and again, trying to find what caused it. This final video was uploaded by a TikTok user named Sabrina C. Cumin. She claimed she experienced strange things in her apartment, and she had pets, cats, and a dog, which mattered because people often trusted animal reactions more than human reactions. Animals did not usually perform fear for attention. They reacted. In the footage, one moment became the center of the argument. Sabrina's claim was that something grabbed her cat, and it looked like it threw the cat, which was why the other animals reacted and went berserk. At first, you could tell yourself it was just an animal being unpredictable. Cats startled. Cats jumped. Pets spooked each other. That was normal. But the narrator pointed out a detail that made people pause. The cat appeared to be missing one of its limbs. The narrator did not say that meant the cat could not jump, but he noted it was impressive power, and it made viewers look at the movement differently, because it felt unusually forceful. Then the camera captured something else that pushed the clip from odd to unsettling. A chair in the kitchen moved backwards toward the wall. The chair shifted far enough that it did not look like a tiny accidental nudge. The narrator said he initially thought one of the cats or animals pushed it, but when he zoomed in and enhanced the scene, he did not see any of the pets moving in a way that would create the chair moving such a significant distance away from the table, all the way to the back wall. That was the moment the comments would have split if you had seen them, because the footage placed viewers in an impossible position. If you assumed it was nothing, you still had to explain the chair movement. If you assumed it was something unseen, you still had to expect you were making a leap, based on limited footage. The narrator ended by asking viewers what they thought, whether there was a spirit in the apartment that was terrorizing the pets and moving chairs around, and he asked people to share their opinions. The point was not that the clip proved anything. The point was that it made viewers feel watched, because the camera captured the pets reacting as if something else was in the space with them, and that brought the entire countdown full circle. A Manchester office looked like it came alive. Then an expert claimed it was staged. A hotel hallway claimed screams and a ghost. Then an analysis argued edits and inconsistencies. A collection of mysteries showed how easily the internet turned unanswered questions into stories, including TV Man and the strange figure outside. A fireball streaked across the Las Vegas sky. Then a family called 911 about beings in their yard and police installed cameras. A guard spoke to Miss Abigail and was told she died 2 years earlier. A school corridor erupted at just after 3 a.m. A hospital wheelchair rolled and turned, while a witness felt wind and cold. A grandmother feared a figure stood near sleeping children, and the internet argued in extremes. A bedroom door opened and a woman sat in quiet panic. Then, pets reacted. A cat jolted. A chair slid, and the camera offered no clear explanation. And that brings us to the end of this episode. If you found this video informative, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss what we drop next. We cover stories like this almost every day, and trust me, you don't want to be left behind. If you can't wait until the next upload, there are more videos popping up on your screen in just a few seconds. Click one and keep watching. Until then, take care.